Assassin's Creed Codename Red. The new Assassin's Creed set in Japan will feature real stealth gameplay and samurai gameplay like you know from Ghost of Tsushima. We got some new leaks. We got two new sources. First is Jonathan, the French leaker who always leaks Ubisoft stuff. Second is an Insider Gaming exclusive article about the protagonist Assassin's Creed Codename Red, the male one. First up, let's dive right into it. In the leak from Jonathan, we will find out how the game will feel, and it will somehow feel like Ghost of Tsushima in many ways, and I'm super looking forward to that because I love Ghost of Tsushima. We already know that the second protagonist, Yasuke, is an African bodyguard. He was a slave and then managed to flee, but he lost his love. One new detail Jonathan revealed was that AC Codename Red will feature less map markers. This is very important because it matches some more the old Assassin's Creeds or some other harder games, e.g. Elden Ring. And I can totally imagine Assassin's Creed Codename Red being a tougher game to manage because Elden Ring was very successful and a fun game to play with just a few hints on where to go and what to do. While the last Assassin's Creed, they were full of everything. We had that feature in the last Assassin's Creed where we could turn on or off the map markers. Now that feature could be gone, and less map markers mean more exploration and a tougher gameplay. I'm personally looking forward to it, and I'm pretty sure Ubisoft will feature some features to make it more accessible to those who don't want to explore it that way. The second big update is about the map size. Assassin's Creed Codename Red will feature a large chunk of Japan. Or is it called Japan? In Germany we call it Japan. The size of the map will be somewhere between Valhalla and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Valhalla featured 120 square kilometers, sea included. Here you can see it on DGVFX. AC Black Flag was larger than Valhalla, though Valhalla was the biggest game in total length, of course. And we have Odyssey with 250 square kilometers, sea included. That's the biggest AC ever existed, but only 130 square kilometers landmass. And being between that, yeah, that can lead to such a large map with a lot to explore. And maybe less sea than in Odyssey. I can totally see that because it was rumored that the game will feature 5 years of long-term support. That would be awesome and super crazy. Alright, next up we have some gameplay features. The first one that is coming is the grapple hook tool, like in Sekiro or Ghost of Tsushima, of course. And you can then grapple through enemy forts, etc. or from rock to rock, wherever those hooks can grapple you. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will love to be like Tarzan, but in Japan. We have different stances with the ability to go prone and crawl through grass, which is awesome. I totally love proning through grass, of course. It reminds me of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, where they had this like lying in the mud feature that was kind of new back then in 2019, I think. Isn't that new now anymore? But a nice feature. It sounds very interesting to me and I'm looking forward. Now we have the biggest change in my opinion. We have better stealth with the player being able to make use of darkness and create dark spots to hide in the shadows. This totally reminds me of course, the beloved Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell managed to do that back then when it was created, and I think it could be a fitting feature for this game if it's not used that extensively, maybe only in forts, etc. But also includes social stealth, because social stealth is the element that made AC in the first place. It's one of the key features in my opinion. Yeah, and I can totally see like darkness fitting into it. You create dark spaces, you try to get those lamps down to get you covered up in darkness and then do the hidden assassination with the shinobi. Could totally be my playstyle. And we know we have two protagonists. One is in the shadows, the other one is a samurai, and this was totally make a really different gameplay, because you need a really different gameplay. Otherwise, I'm not sure if the game would be strong enough to make use out of two protagonists. Now, NPCs can defend themselves a lot better than before. Also sounds interesting to me. The thing is, it's always promised, but if Jonathan leaks it, I think it might be right, because he is very strict about Assassin's Creed and doesn't lose too many good words about Ubisoft, though he plays all of their games. so it might be right. I'm curious, maybe it will lean on like gameplay mechanics like we saw in Ghost of Tsushima, a harder style gameplay with those events, those quick time events maybe included or something like this, or maybe go for a Souls-like approach, which would be very tough, but I think a Souls-like approach would more fit for Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe, which will take place in Germany. And yeah, and don't forget to subscribe for my to my channel, of course. Alright, next up is a feature that will allow players to recruit certain enemies to function as spies. What comes to my mind is of course Total War Rome, where we could get like spies and information about certain buildings. Maybe we get info about a castle they want to conquer also, or otherwise we get like an info about a specific enemy, like in the Nemesis system from Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. That could also be the case, like investigating on the weak points of enemies through spies could totally be the case. Another possibility could of course just be them adding to our army or something like that. I don't know if there will be an army, it could be the case, but I don't think it matches Assassin's Creed that well. Alright, we have some info about Naoi, the female protagonist. She will wield kunai, which are throwable knives, shuriken, throwable devices as well, those stars, smoke bombs, and bells. Why would you activate the bell? Well, you should totally do that on my channel. Activate it. She seems to be a stealthy, agile character in the shadows hidden, whilst Yasuke, the other protagonist, he is like the strong one, even participated in sumo wrestling. So that's a really big difference. Also, it is said that they are bumping up the visuals, and that was totally needed in my opinion. Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Assassin's Creed Mirage were both cross-gen titles. And you can see the cross-gen, no ray tracing, etc. I really need that in the next Assassin's Creed, a true next-gen or current-gen title, because next-gen, well, that was 2020 when we spoke about next-gen. Next up is the news about the first assassin that actually existed. It's an African samurai called Yasuke, and he was originally a slave on a slave ship that was conquered, or I would say destroyed, and he was the only survivor, including his love of his life. He also lost his life, and that's the classic Ubisoft motivation. They always lose their lives, their minds, and then they go on a revenge quest through all of the continents or countries we discovered so far. Now, it's not really clear how a former slave will become a well-known samurai, because samurai is like very up high in rank, and a slave is of course the bottom layer of the former population. It will be really interesting to see the transformation of Yasuke and of course Naoi, the other protagonist. Super curious about that. Stay subscribed for more Assassin's Creed content. I make content about AC since 2017, and I started this English channel just in January, so feel free and welcome to join us. Goodbye and see you in the next one.